Sir, you can start the session.
Okay, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this is the third session which we are having of the contemplative webinar of the contemplative neurology subsection of the IAN. I welcome all of you to this meeting, and I welcome our speaker. I'll do that in a more formal manner later, but I welcome Professor Sudhir Shah, who also happens to be the chairman of our subsection. And I welcome all the other members who have joined us from the subsection, as well as hearty welcome to members and other guests who outside of the IAN who have been invited today and who have joined us from various walks of life and various professional fields, and other doctors as well, non-neurologists, because this the topic of the day is a very, very interesting topic, a topic which is of extreme interest to every human being on the earth, not only to neurologists, but we have a certain uh, perspective on this matter. And I'm sure Dr. Sudhir Shah will be talking to us in great detail on that. The topic of the day, as we have already mentioned, is pursuit of happiness, art and neuroscience. And happiness is something which is very, very subjective. It is difficult to define, and at the same time very elusive. We can't always be happy, and happiness is something which probably is peculiar to the human mind, the sense that humans can say that we are happy. We don't know whether animals are happy or unhappy, but there are certain behavioral changes which we see in them. But humans, being more eloquent and more expressive in their consciousness, are better able to define and probably look into this matter in greater detail. And right from the time of Aristotle, this matter has been taken up with great interest and with great keenness. And in those days, they defined it in two words. They called it either hedonia or eudaimonia. Hedonia, in other words, just pursuit of pleasure. It might be just mundane pleasure, physical pleasures, or probably higher levels of pleasures, but still pleasure is pleasure. And happiness is supposed to be at a higher plane and is supposed to be something different. And eudaimonia is probably something which comes closer to that, and the Greeks called it life well lived. So probably, whether everybody can say that they have a life well lived or not, many people will be in the pursuit of hedonism without probably being aware or not being aware of it. So to look, and neuroscientists of late have started taking a great interest in the neuroanatomical and neurophysiological correlates, the conscious correlates of the states of brain in situations where we can call ourselves happy. And a lot of studies have been done in this regard. And specifically, Dr. Sudhir Shah will be addressing the art of the pursuit of happiness, that is, how to do it, and the neuroscience of happiness, which I'm sure he will cover what happens in our brain and what changes take place in our mind, and whether we are able to, in a better way, understand the word happiness. Now to introduce Professor Shah, I'll just share my screen. Professor Sudhir Shah doesn't require great introduction to the IAN members, of course. To the others who are other guests who have joined us today, he is the professor in Neurology department at NHL, MMC, and SVP IMSR Ahmedabad. He is the director of neurosciences, the Sterling Group of Hospitals. He is a consultant neurologist. He is a consultant neurologist to His Excellency the Governor of Gujarat. He has been the past executive committee member at the Indian Academy of Neurology. He is a fellow of the Royal College of Physicians, London. He is a fellow of the American Academy of Neurology, USA. He is an advisor to the World Yoga Foundation. He has numerous books, chapters, and publications to his credit. He is the author of 6 books in neurology. Several publications in state, national, and international journals can be credited to him. And he has won numerous awards during the course of his illustrious career. He has been conferred with the prestigious Padma Shri in 2016. He is the B.C. Roy Awardee, Dr. B.C. Roy Awardee in 2018, and he was also conferred the Fellowship of the Indian Academy of Neurology in 2018. He is also the recipient of several international and national awards, including the UNO Award, Global Visionary Award, etc. He has been interviewed by the BBC, Discovery, CNBC, and other international and national TV channels for his very well-known research on prolonged fasting, which was featured in 3 international documentary films. He has also been recently conferred the Bharat Gaurav Award in Paris. And his areas of special interest include stroke, neurodegeneration, of course, contemplative neurology. Over to Dr. Professor Sudhir Shah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me try and share the screen. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
There you go. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can see.
And it is moving?
Yes, it's moving.
Okay, let's see. First of all, today it is Guru Purnima, so my pranam, respectful regards to all those gurus who have shown us paths on the way of life, in our teachings, in our medicine, and in our spiritual journey. My pranam to all of them. And that way, my all friends are also my guru, and I bow down to all of you with real respect and reverence. Now, Dr. Vasudevan is pursuing with me for quite some time. If I may take up this famous topic, which I have shared at 1 or 2 occasions at IA and at some other national neurology forum. But I think it is like a holy book. We have to chant this book regularly, and therefore probably he was insisting that I should take up this topic, because every day in and out, the most important thing in our life is nothing but happiness, happiness and peace. Although we know that we forget it every now and then, how to live and how to create happiness for us as well as others. So let it be that way. Let us rechant the whole verse again, and I will try and do that in the next few. I think before 12:30 we have to wrap up. So before that, I'll finish everything. And those who have to join for the subsection discussion, they have a separate link, so they can rejoin from that link. So friends, happiness, as Dr. Vasudevan said, is elusive to some extent, but in practice, we have to make it possible for us, and that is the only way that we can make our life full of meaning. Now, obviously, we are talking of human happiness today, so we will not discuss other aspects. But there are certain disclaimers that though happiness is sought after by each and every person, not many of us really achieve the happiness levels required for us, and many of us do not remain in that state for a long time. We have lots of fluctuations. When I'm talking about happiness, it does not mean that I have perfected that, but And nobody is perfect. We are all students. Every day we learn more and more. It is easy to preach, but at the same time, I have seen it is not very difficult to practice if we really uh, pursue it properly. It is not hypothetical. Though happiness varies from person to person, as Dr. Vasudevan said, there are various definitions. He talked about sports and all that. So it is dynamic also in the same person. Today I may feel quite happy, tomorrow I may be happier, and then day after I may not be. And third important thing, it's a journey, not the destination. Life journey is a whole journey of happiness. It is not that after reaching some destination I'll be happy. The whole journey of life, from here to our goal to next goal, we must be in a state of happiness. So it is a dialogue that we have to initiate now, and we will do that today once again. Friends, as Lord Buddha said, and even Sankhya and Yoga mentions, and Jainism also mentioned, look, there is a problem. Everybody is suffering. There is a pain. There is a suffering. But if there is a pain, there has to be a cause. And if there is a cause, there has to be a way. And if we follow that path, we will get the solution. If we are unhappy, then there must be the cause of unhappiness. And there must be some way how we fix it. And if we know that way, we should pursue properly. That's why this saying, pain is inevitable, but the suffering is optional. It is in our hands. So my first question to you, as I always ask my starting of my presentation, do you want to be happy? Everybody says yes. Okay. Then B, if you want to be happy, then who prevents you from becoming happy? Look, we are in charge of our happiness, not anybody else. Make it very clear that X, Y, Z cannot and should not make you happy or unhappy. It is you, despite whatever stimulation, your reaction should be such that you remain happy. So the space between stimulus and reaction is your space, and you decide your attitude and behavior so that you remain happy. Not even any circumstances, why even a person. Second, remember, happiness is our conscious decision, it's a conscious choice, and it is free of cost. Our inner core is full of happiness. It is ananta sukh, that they say. Spiritualists use the term the soul, the Atman, and that is full of anant gyan, anant darshan, anant charitra, and anant sukh. Okay, so there is full happiness inside, but it's the external world and the behavior of our mind and reaction of our mind makes us unhappy. So we have to change that sequence. Friends, happiness is a journey, not a destination. Somebody may say that if I get so much rupees, I'll become happy. Somebody will say that I become president of this particular organization, I'll be happy. Some may say if I become the CM, I'll be happy. Until then, his mental attire is that is chasing happiness, is not happy. Actually, the whole journey, as I mentioned earlier, should be a journey of happiness. Before you achieve goal, after you change the goal, and after you reach the ultimate goal, everything should be a journey, and that all journey you should enjoy. So we have to change the frame of mind. And there is no better time to be happy than now, right now. So fasten your seatbelt and let's start the journey of happiness from this moment. And everybody wants to live and everybody wants to be happy. But if you really see what is the purpose of life, ultimate purpose of life is to enjoy and live happily and make others happy. But in reality, when a person is approaching the deathbed, if you ask, did he get a happiness? 95% of people would say that although I knew that I wanted happiness, I have missed somewhere. And that is the somewhere we have goofed and we have to correct that mistake. And this whole presentation is dedicated to all of us, including myself, to find out our mistakes and correct them. So my talk would have three parts. One is the definition, psychology, and neuroscience of happiness. Then we will dissect why we are unhappy and what really determines our happiness. And then, of course, in last 30 minutes, we'll see how to be happy, the physical, moral, philosophical, religious, spiritual keys and perspective. Again, Aristotle, as mentioned by Professor Vasudevan, in 384 to 322 before Christ, he said, happiness is the meaning and purpose of life, the whole aim and the end of human existence. There is nothing beyond happiness for us. But according to him, there are four determinants of happiness: good health, good relations, good virtues, and optimum money should lead to happiness, life, well lived, meaningful life, according to him, in those Greek area. And that was the concept of happiness, according to him. We'll see later that Indian spiritual texts have gone much, much beyond this, and they have included morality, religion, yoga practice, and spiritual practices, including meditation, as a part of creating happiness. Dictionary definition is it's a persistent, positive, emotional state of a feeling of well-being. It's an attitude and a state of mind. Remember, a state of mind. Well, if I go a little fast over here, we had done a study way back in 2002 and wrote emails and letters to certain important people. To cut the matter short, I could find out that people have different types of definitions for their happiness. Happiness is one word, but there are lots of subdivisions. According to some, happiness is pleasure, that is a physical things pertaining to five senses. That is tamas, according to our Indian spiritual text. Some people are slightly more elevated, that is at the human level. Tamas is the animal level. Rajas is the human level, where they want to achieve something in life and impart some meaning to others, and that is Rajas. And then bliss is a state of permanent meditative state, which the real yogis and sattvic Purusha have, that is Sattva. So let's see in brief. Pleasure is sought from outer world. It is characterized by five sensual pleasures, like eyes like to listen music and beautiful voices. Eyes want to see beautiful scenes, and so similarly tongue has its own objects and all that. This pleasure is instinctual and physiological, like an action potential reflex. It comes and goes away. It's a very, very short-lived. It's short-lived, but it is perpetually demanding more and more. If you get some pleasure from some object, like today we have eaten outside and you enjoyed the food, tomorrow you will again like to have that kind of food again and again. And if you don't get that, then you have craving. So that is our circuit of cingulate and frontal lobe, and that's why the chemical responsible is dopamine. You know that reward principle. So where do they find pleasure? From food, sex, places, listening, music, fragrance, etc., etc. When we do fMRI during this kind of activities of pleasure, corresponding area of the brain gets increased metabolism, circulation, etc. In fMRI, you see metabolism and activity. And it is a visual imagery. So your occipital area, if you are listening to good music, your auditory area, and all that. And as I mentioned, The principal chemical here is dopamine, which is joined by serotonin. So reward, euphoria, motor function, compulsion, perseveration from dopamine, and mood memory and processing by uh, serotonin. And you know from where you can get temporary kick from dopamine from eating certain foods like apple, beet, cucumber, etc. And serotonin we get from fruits, vegetables, particularly banana, or do light stretching or breathing exercise or listen to soothing music, you get serotonin kick. So serotonin is a confidence molecule. Dopamine is the molecule of reward, pleasure principle. The second level is so 80 to 85% of the human population fall into the first level where they feel happiness is from the pleasure. But those who have slightly evolved in their lives, they feel that santosh or joy is a real station for them. Here there is a happiness coming from outer world as well as inner world. In pleasure, everything is outside because you have to get all these objects to make you happy. Here there is some inner source, creativity, uh, some kind of achievement, social interaction, recognition, giving talks, helping people, and in turn getting success, money, reward, recognition, etc. So there is something from inner world, some from the outer world. That was physiological, this is psychological. Here the desires are there, but they are refined. So like achievement, degree, playing music is joy. Listening to music is a pleasure. So element of some tracking and then sports. When we do fMRI during such activities, you get different set of brain areas getting activated and the periciliary area, etc., etc. And this lasts for much longer time. It is not like just an action potential. This is a longer lasting happiness, so to say. And that is what we call joy. The chemicals of joy are oxytocin, vasopressin, prolactin. Of course, there is desire, so dopamine, reward molecule is there. Serotonin is also there, but here it is joined by oxytocin, vasopressin. You know the mother-child bonding. Similarly, here oxytocin, vasopressin operates. Then comes bliss, the highest state. So about 12% of people out of 100% fall into group of joy and satisfaction, while only 2 to 5% people are in the bliss category. It is a very high state. Here mind and its all activity either ceases or is in control of the observer, that is the soul or the consciousness. Our consciousness becomes identified with the universal consciousnesses. Here is the experience of just being. It's a permanent meditative state, totally self-dependent. There is no external world input. Okay? Everything comes from within. They remain happy to whatever happens to them. They are not affected by circumstances of what people would say or do or talk. They remain in their own state of happiness. That is bliss. That is sattvic. How do we get it? By mindfulness practice and other kinds of meditation. Here, observing the body and mind, intentionally letting experiences unfold from moment to moment and accepting as they are. Observing thoughts without getting caught up in them. No effort to control anything except the focus and direction of attention. Therefore, those who are in blissful state, they are in meditative state. Whatever they are doing, either they are eating, they are eating meditations, sitting meditation, talking meditation, working meditation, meditation during each act is the goal of mindfulness. And what is the connotation in the terms of fMRI? There is a particular area, very small, few millimeter size area in the brain where there is symbolic representation of the self. And this is the higher part of the posterior parietal lobule, where they are constantly in unison with the universal consciousness. Friends, interestingly, when you are in a blissful state, automatically peace is imparted to you as a free packet deal. If you want to check whether you are in a real happy state or not, then find out if you are peaceful or not, if you are in tune with your own serenity or not. If there is a peace along with the state of happiness, that is bliss, then you can take it that this is the real happiness, the real bliss. Because when you are in the highest state of happiness, that is bliss, automatically peace falls upon you. So you have to cross check. Then I think peace is one of the important parameters. Then we have seen there are three levels. If I summarize, pleasure is tamas, worldly things, serotonin, dopamine, catecholamines. Catecholamines are required just as the energy fuel. Joy is rajas, where happiness is outside and inside, and oxytocin, vasopressin is there along with dopamine, while bliss is being part of something bigger than yourself, universal consciousness. And here the chemicals are GABA, endorphin, endocannabinoids in right proportion. Here, generally, dopamine and serotonin do not remain present. The next question somebody may ask, can you, doctor, really measure happiness? And yes, who would know better than neurologists and psychiatrists? So happiness index, GDP, human development index are for the economists, but for the neuropsychiatrists and neurologists, neuropsychological testing, magnetoencephalogram, fMRI, PET, SPECT, all these gadgets we need to study them. And in that, we have found that different components of happiness are found in different areas of the brain. That is, happiness does not seem to have a clearly defined neurobiological home. Just now we saw that during pleasure of visual cortex area or auditory cortex area gets stimulation. In the self-contemplation, that dot on the parietal area. So different components of happiness reside in different parts. And happiness and the prefrontal cortex, like laughter responses are generated in the left prefrontal cortex, while pleasant clips, etc., in the again left prefrontal cortex, etc. And these are the hedonic spots that he was talking. That different areas of the brain have emotional aspects of positive feeling, that is cingulate cortex, dorsomedial, prefrontal cortex, orbital cortex, amygdala, ventral pallidum, hypothalamus, nucleus accumbens. So we have seen part one very quickly. Now we will go to the little deeper part. We have to do introspection, why we are unhappy and what determines our happiness. First of all, I want to tell my all physician colleagues, doctors, that we need to heal ourselves. Physician, heal thyself. We are one of the most vulnerable people in the world in terms of unhappiness. Yeah. Friends, remember this statement. Very carefully analyze with your own self. Life is larger than medicine or professional business. We equate ourselves with our doctoring, but are we only doctors? We are somebody's parents, somebody's son, somebody's daughter, we are somebody's teacher, somebody's friend. We have lots of role to play. So try to change your role with each person and circumstances accordingly, and and don't take for granted that every 24/7 we are doctors. So we should really enjoy life in a larger way. So if I talk about people like me or us who are in the academics as well as the research and professional career, we have multiple roles to play. Academic stress, that brings academic stress, professional career stress. We are in corporate, so we are corporate stress, conferences, holding research, looking after spouse, in-laws, parents and family. We have to tackle psychological issues, lots of social problems. People expect a lot from us. Then we have to fix problems over teaching, students, children issue, interpersonal relationship. Some of us are into the false sense of competition and then negative emotions like ego and jealousy as human we have. Then everybody wants to earn money and the fastest pace. Then everybody wants fame also. And then we have limited time to manage time. Then the issues of traffic, mobile, social media management now it's a big challenge. And lots of other staff management, misunderstanding, legal paperwork. And then there are uh, patients who have lots of different expectations and then caregiver stress, and then government issues, and lots of things. So, friends, and at the top of we have to maintain physical, mental health, fitness, and beauty. Very, very tough task. These are all the causes of our unhappiness. But we'll touch the base again later. Is this the real cause of unhappiness? Let me tell you one thing that as human being, we all need pleasure. We all need to achieve some fame and money as a part of joy and satisfaction. I don't deny. But our goal is to remain in a permanent state of happiness, bliss, and therefore we have to move forward. And the rest of the presentation will focus on how to move forward. So I don't deny that we should not enjoy pleasure, we should not enjoy money and fame. We must, but there has to be a limit of everything. And then we have to be very careful. This virtual world is really deceiving. It can really make or break our lives. So be very careful. It creates inner emptiness, isolation, emotional burnt out, restlessness, and takes up away our concentration, attention, etc. So restrict the use of social media. With that red flag, I now move to the next component of our talk, and that is what determines our happiness. Friends, this study is depicting that 50% of our happiness actually depends on our attitude, behavior, morality, and spirituality. This is the scientific study that I think has come from Boston. Then they say that 20% is our genetic make. Whether you are going to remain happy or not, 20% of that is determined by your genes, 10% through your circumstances, and 20% from the money that you earn and the status of good health and all that, which is also important. So let us talk about first genetics. Some cause happiness wherever they go, and others whenever they go. Very beautiful statement by Oscar Wilde. So some people are born happy, while others are born difficult. I did not elaborate. You must have met many such people. Well, that is due to our genes, as they say, DRD2, DRD4, WMET2, TRIA, and many other genes are responsible, which are controlling our different neurotransmitter release. And then there are many other also. So now we are also very well versed with the principles of epigenetics. Intrinsic happiness occurs naturally. Humans have genes that can be activated by our thoughts, emotional patterns, and behaviors. Doesn't matter if we don't have those genes inherited from our races or familial genes. But if you want to change the expression of the gene, then mindfulness, meditation, altruistic action, they unlock the DNA code and produce natural happiness. Like for DNA, if you do mindfulness, meditation, or altruistic action, you can unlock the DNA code. If you do positive thoughts and emotions and good behaviors and situations, then your genetic lock can be also altered. That releases happiness molecules. So this is a very important slide by the propounders of epigenetic principle. Then we talk about the second level circumstances. Friends, we do lots of commitment, and that is one of the causes of our unhappiness. We want to achieve everything, this, that, 7 different posts and 8 different hours and 10 different source of money. Those kind of commitment, and then Trishna, your desire, ambition, and apeksha, this is the cause of your unhappiness, our unhappiness. And the more the people we meet, the more the interactions happen, and that creates a series of cascade of unhappiness. So try to reduce your interaction with people and circumstances. And that's what Lord Mahavir said. The more you have contacts with persons and situations, the more will be your unhappiness. Cascade of problems. Then let's talk about money. Does money really bring happiness to all of us ever? Yes, money does produce short-term benefits, but more money will not raise well-being. This is a very important equation. So this graph clearly mentions that after some stage, if you really see, with increase in real income per capita, this is the level of happiness. Happiness level does not increase. In fact, after some level, it falls. So with increase in income, it's not necessary that we will have increase in happiness. In fact, more money corrupts, more success corrupts. More money and success, they take away our morality, relationship, health, bliss, and peace. They are impermanent. We need to balance our lives. So life-work balance is very important. Money certainly can bring security as well as comfort and pleasure, no doubt. It can bring improved standard of living, no doubt. But more money creates many problems. So we have to define what is optimum for us. Actually, when we talk of somebody's riches and successes and awards, how does it affect us? How many of you remember the names of Nobel laureates of last 2 years even? Even forget 2 years, only last year's all Nobel laureates. How many of you remember? We don't remember people's accolades and achievements. We are least concerned. Just we do applause and forget it. Because applause dies away, trophies gather dust, winners are soon forgotten. We all will be forgotten by others unless if we have helped people, they will remember us. Today is Guru Purnima. I remember my all gurus because they helped me, they carved my path beneath. I remember all friends who helped me in my bad times. I remember my parents who really shaped me well. And I remember all those who helped me in different difficult times. So if we also help people, we will be remembered. Our accolades and trophies would not be remembered. So take care, note of this, take care of people and help them. So we have to choose between success and inner happiness. So what I mean, our source of joy, our money, fame, and trophies are least important for others. For us also, it is, after all, not permanently lasting. Pleasure is very short lasting. Joy may last little longer, but bliss lasts very long. And success is the one which brings joy. It does not bring bliss. One is to choose between success and inner happiness. At some stage in our life, we are on crossroads. One road takes us to more pleasure, more success, more money, more awards. And the lesser traveled road, thinner road, takes you to religion, morality, spirituality, and godliness. And that brings to you to inner peace. So we have to decide whether we have come now at crossroad. And if so, take the road that you really love to travel further and remain in the state of permanent happiness and peace. We have to change our drive from sympathetic fight and fight mode. We have to go to parasympathetic yogic mode, slow, calm, serene. So now we go to the third level of our talk, and that is how to be happy, the most important part of the talk. How to be happy. We have understood the whole psychology, some neuroscience of happiness. We have understood what is the determinant of happiness, what are the cause of our unhappiness. We have understood it. Now we want to find out and fix the problem. So how do we fix that? So friends, there are several levels, and this, I think the crux of the whole discussion is now. So friends, I have found out and written in my latest book, Sukhopanishad, the whole thing, that these are the things which are required. It is not a push button system. We have to work very hard, day in and out for months and years together. So first is 5 activities of health, then 5 relations to care for, then certain hobbies, some medical interventions can help at some place. Then you have to know some laws of philosophies, look, create some virtues for ourselves, mental processes, 5, and then 5 spiritual practices. If we follow this roadmap, we will be really happy day by day, more happier and happier. I don't have to tell to the august audience how much important health is. First and foremost, happiness or contentment is self-health. So eat right, do exercise, yoga, breathing techniques, pranayam, get proper sleep and rest, uh, learn to relax, live elegantly. My grandfather used to teach me, live elegantly, laugh exhaustingly, but love abundantly. That is the principle. I think it's a very important line. So enough sleep, walking, say no to stimulants and alcohol, say do resistance training little and talk to your friends, went out. Do yoga. Yoga is very important. Massage, not Thai massage. I'm talking about the routine body massage. Laugh frequently. Smile. Smile is the main way to tell if someone is happy, but only if they are real smile. Okay. So our smile should be real smile, and smile solves many problems. Remember this one. And laugh frequently. Laugh frequently at yourself and not at the mistake of others. Laugh from the core of your spirit. And that laugh should be true laugh. Learn to laugh in all our mistakes and bad situations. Laugh out. Because this is not going to remain permanently. It's a transient thing in your whole journey of life. So laugh out. Smile and laugh. And if you don't know, keep silence. With all due regards to this gentleman, silence avoids so many problems. Smile solves so many problems. Silence avoids so many problems. and love abundantly. If you spend your life in judging people, then when will you love them? Love people. Life is too short, my dear friends, fellow men. We don't have enough time to love and appreciate. And then when do we get the time to criticize and talk bad things and do wrong things for people? No, no, just love people. And when you really love or appreciate people, the rostral midbrain is activated and there is a series of chemical release which in turn uh, increases parasympathetic output, producing slow respiration, lower pulse rate, and lower blood pressure. And we will become happier and calm, peaceful. Well, if happiness is a biological cause, as we saw in the brain, then we'll be able to influence with certain drugs and like psychological counseling, mood elevators. Some of the patients, and we know our relatives, they are really suffering due to pathological anxiety, depression, or behavioral problems. They must be directed to psychiatrists for the drugs and counseling and whatever you can do, because one of the causes of suffering is your mental state. And if there's an abnormal mental state, we have to see that they get proper treatment. So to remove unhappiness, medical science does have a role. And if we are happier, then many of the psychosomatic and some of the lifestyle disorders can be improved, maybe from varying extent, from 25 to 75% extent, from arthritis to allergies, asthma to hypertension, IBS to heartburn, constipation to migraine, skin disorder, depression, overweight, sleep disorders. All these things, I don't want to claim that 100% improvement occurs, but we know the root cause of many psychosomatic disorder is our mental state. And if we fix that, if we come into the happiness state, happier state, then many of the disorders are suppressed. And converse is also true. And my dear friends, I know some of the neurosurgeons who are into functional neurosurgery. They are working on deep brain stimulation and other techniques where periaqueductal gray matter is, if you stimulate, then there is a feeling of relief of grief, and there is sometimes you can stimulate certain areas to release endorphins, etc. So I don't know how far this has transpired into clinical use, but a day will come when a neurosurgeon would be the person who would fix our unhappiness and make us happy. And there are some commercial people who are now selling some oxytocin spray and some dopamine spray and some God helmets, etc. This is the funny part of the story, that they want to loot people with all these things, and just you put some drops in your nose and you feel cozy. Well, there are lots of advantages and disadvantages both, so be careful of that. But yes, gene therapy also can be on the shelf somewhere. As I mentioned, DRD2, DRD4, ATLR, VMAT2, etc. genes, if we modify with the genetic engineering, though you are not born with those happiness genes, probably you can modulate with this genetic engineering. And there is something called God gene also. You may read up in the. So in laboratory, you can do these kind of things. As we now do gene treatment in some of the diseases, there'll be treatment for the unhappiness also. So that is a futuristic view, but I don't say that it won't be possible. Yes, there is a possibility. Now, Elon Musk has come up with some Neuralink things, you know that. So a day will come when he will also focus on this kind of emotional part of the brain. Well, so we have talked on some of the part of the physical. Now we talk about the social relationship. Friends, if you remember, Aristotle mentioned first good health and good relations. So that holds true till today, rather even more relevant today. So 5 relations are important in our life. Married life for those who are married, those who have children, children relations, relation with parents and in-laws, relation with friends, and relation at workplace. Friends, this is a very likable slide, and I enjoy talking on happy married life. To some, it is oxymoron. Me too had problems initial few years, but then I understood the whole game. And now, for last 25 years or more, we are having a wonderful, balanced, happy married life. So what is marriage? Marriage is a way through which two people join together. It's a way through which two people join together to solve the problems they never had before. And बेचारे दोनों अलग थे मजाक करते थे join हुए तो problem चालू और then they try to solve a whole life, and that is what is marriage. Well, but there are reasons why people are not successful because they don't understand what do a woman want. So after 10 years of my initial struggle in married life, I once and I tried with Google and other avenues. They did not answer the question. But then I had a confrontation with my wife and I really asked and nailed down, what do you want? Tell me. She ultimately came out with this universal truth. Women need to be understood, they must be loved and cared, they must be validated, they must be accepted, they need freedom. If you give me this, Sudhir, I will give you everything in the world, including heaven. And look, I did that and I am now one of the most happy person. And in return, she asked me, what do a man want? And you know, what did I answer? So, बेचारे पुरुष को क्या चाहिए? Okay, so don't take it very seriously, just joking. So, happiness for children, not by giving them money and new car and new mobile, no. What do they want? You give your valuable time, educate them well, give them culture, attitude, wisdom, and art. And I'm very happy that my father, he was a visionary doctor and he gave us a lot of art, wisdom, culture, education to all children. And that's what we all should do. And we have to balance our relations with parents and in-laws, give them respect and love. And if we play with kids, you know, it gives a long life. So happiness helps you live longer. And regarding friends, what to say? I'm once again lucky here. I have beautiful, wonderful friends. And person really doesn't need large number of friends to be happy. They need one or two real friends with whom you can share everything of your inner feelings and emotions and core and thinking. And friends are the gifts by God. They are not related to your blood, but still they are closest to your heart. So nurture your friendship and enjoy life with them. So friends, then we talk about the further level, and this is 5 hobbies, pleasant activities. I'm sure as doctors and other people also, most of you will be involved in some kind of music, creativity activity, dance, art, or some of you are fond of traveling, reading, writing, gardening, keeping a pet, grooming, photography. These hobbies, photography. are, making you happy. It is in a way of expression. And I tell you, reading is a library, a library is a hospital for the mind, and it combats mental decline and Alzheimer's disease. People who read often become more empathetic. And similarly, music is the medicine of mind. Music is a stream that vivifies your soul and fills it with emptiness. Similarly, gardening and so on. So you find out some wonderful hobby that makes you happier. Then we go to the little deeper level. Now you remember what Aristotle said about 5 good virtues. He didn't mention 5, but he said some good virtues. And yes, so third thing he mentioned after health and relation was virtues. We talked about habits in between. Now we talk about virtues. Friends, if we really nurture these 5 virtues, our life will fully blessed and graced with abundance. One is gratitude, second is appreciation, forgiveness is third, kindness is fourth, and acceptance. Friends, feeling of gratitude release positive endorphins throughout the body, creating health. Gratitude is one of the sweetest shortcut to finding peace of mind and happiness inside. Sometimes we take it for granted. If somebody helps us a little here and there, we don't acknowledge them. But here, the gratitude means you express explicitly to the Almighty who has given you birth and kept you alive, to your parents, to your gurus, to your friends, to your family, to your driver who is driving you safely, to the peon who brings a cup of tea to your table. So all people whom you meet, we should be grateful. And same way, everyone has some or other virtue. Howsoever bad the person may be, but at least will have few virtues which you have to appreciate. Appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well. Be verbal in acknowledging your appreciation. That is how the life will become full of abundance. And similarly, forgive people. They unnecessarily occupy space in your brain, and then you have to take revenge and the cascade of unhappiness, and you are not at peace with yourself. Certain small acts have to be forgotten. Don't keep ego, don't keep vengeance. Yes, I don't want you to forgive the people who are terrorists, or I don't want to make you saints, but at least in day-to-day life, there are so many occasions we unnecessarily keep vengeance and remain uh, vengeful. Instead, the first to forgive, to apologize is bravest, the first to forgive is the strongest, and the first to forget is happiest. So whenever you have also made a mistake, go and ask for forgiveness, apologize, and also give forgiveness to those who have done wrong to you. And गालिब का एक शेर है, गालिब हमने इशक, गालिब हमने जिंदगी को यूं ही आसान कर दिया, गालिब हमने जिंदगी को यूं ही आसान कर दिया, बहुतों को माफ कर दिया, बाकी से माफी मांग ली. So write off the account and get out. And similarly for compassion, karuna, daya, dan. It's not necessary to donate money every time. You can donate your precious time, you can guide people, you can impart knowledge, you can give them food, you can give your clothes, whatever little, you can help cross the road. So this is compassion. It should come from within and accept certain things which you cannot change. So this is a very important statement. Cultivating an attitude of non-judgmental acceptance is not resignation. It's a realization, appreciation of the inherent imperfections of life. God grant me the courage to change the things I can and the serenity to accept the things I cannot and the wisdom to know the difference. So friends, the mathematics of happiness is very different. Now you must have realized if you share your happiness with others, it doubles. And if you have more desires than what you have, your happiness is half. And if you don't meet reality with expectation, your happiness would be decreased. But this is the journey of life that you have to make it very powerful. Now we come to the most subtle part and the quantum part of happiness. We talk about macro world, we talk about virtue, that is the micro world. Now we are talking about the quantum, that is religious, spiritual, philosophical aspects of the happiness. Friends, happiness is not something that happens that money or power can command. It is only by controlling our inner experiences that we can become happy. If you are searching happiness outside, I think you are in a wrong lane. Happiness is not outside. At the beginning, I said happiness is the virtue of our inner core. Inner core is full of knowledge, happiness, power, and command. We are all blessed with that consciousness or the soul in terms of spirituality. And we are unnecessarily wrongly wired so that we just want to chase happiness outside. Remember these spiritual laws, these are very powerful laws. In the classical material world, one has to gain something to get pleasure. मुझे कुछ चाहिए खरीदना है तो मुझे पैसा देना पड़ता है, गोल्ड देना पड़ता है, किसी को एक्सचेंज करना पड़ता है. Then I get something. If I want to buy a car or a fridge or some ornaments, I have to deposit money. So in exchange, I get it. While in the quantum world of spirituality, there is no exchange. If I want happiness, I have to deposit happiness. If I want peace, I have to deposit peace. If I give hatred or if I give unrest, I cannot get peace or happiness in return. So that is very important. The material way is to search for happiness outside, while spiritual path seeks happiness inside. We now know that happiness is not outside, it is inside. And we have to give, we don't have to take. Success is taking from the system. Happiness is giving to the system. If you start giving from the core of yourself, then you get the real bliss and happiness. And the most important law is that the spiritual path defines the cause of miseries and then shows ways to eliminate the material way, while the material way tries to find object of happiness in the external world. In the spiritual domain, we are taught to see inside and find out what is the real cause of unhappiness, and then we try to fix it. In the circle of life, if I have to get peace and happiness, I have to give this. If I give something to somebody, if the other fellow does not behave well, then it's a circle of life. Somebody else will do something good to me. So it's not necessary that it will come back from the same source. It will come from so many other sources. And if I give 100 units of happiness to somebody, it might so happen that I'll get in return 10,000 or 1 lakh unit of happiness. So friends, this is a very, very different logic, very different mathematics. So remember these laws. If we remember these laws, then our expectation will go away. Why this fellow did this to me? I did so many things for him or her, and why he misbehaved? No, it is the theory of karma, destiny, and so many other spiritual laws that apply. But you will get it in multiple proportion of what you do, not necessarily from the same source, from the others. So friends, here comes the real answer. We try to find out why we are unhappy. Remember, I said academic stress, professional stress, fixing of the familial issues, social issues, interpersonal relationship, in conferences and research, and getting money, fame, traffic, social. No, behind all this, what is that? If I am doing lots of conferences, money, fame, this, that, or doing lot of work, I need something I desire. My ambitions are there. So my ambitions, my desire, my aspirations are the root cause of my unhappiness. My thoughts are my root cause of unhappiness. My negative emotions, jealousy, ego, my wrong attitude, my mind moving, wandering between past and future, my avidya, there's wrong teachings. These are the cause of my unhappiness, not those external things which I mentioned earlier. The spiritual world tells me that these are the root cause of my miseries. And unless I remove them, I am not going to get peace and happiness. By fixing things outside, by changing people around me or trying to change my circumstances, things will not improve. I have to change myself. And therefore, I have to work on my five mental processes. That is my attachment, thoughts, desires, emotions, attitude, and ego. And attachment is one thing which is one of the most dangerous cause of our unhappiness. You only lose what you cling to. Lord Buddha said, किसी के साथ अटैच मत हो, कमल के पत्र पर पड़ा पानी की तरफ उसको बह जाने दो. And what are thoughts? We are what we think. Our whole existence is created from our thoughts. So all that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make our world. Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your thoughts unguarded. So guard each of the thought. कोई भी खराब विचार ना आना चाहिए. Or now in spec machine, if you have negative thoughts, you can always show up in the spec machine violence or anger, or if you have compassion or some kind of kindness, everything we can. So the different brain areas getting illuminated. So thoughts are now considered not abstract, they are atomic, and they have impact on each cell of our body, right from physiology to immunity. I don't have to elaborate to the doctor's audience. Same way, desires, there is no fire like desire. Keep our desires in a very limited mode. There is no weakness like anger. There is no suffering like anger, and there is no happiness greater than peace. So ambitions, where ambitions and happiness begins. And attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Always have a positive attitude. So the formula so far we have learned is stop comparing, stop expecting, stop criticizing, start sharing, start helping, start loving, give and forgive, count blessing, and enjoy every moment. And that brings to the domain of religion, where we have five niyam and vrata, that is non-violence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, and non-collectiveness. Ahimsa, Satya, Steya, Brahmacharya, Parigraha. Ethics is the fundamental thing in all religions. And then there are philosophical laws that we have to understand and implement in our life. There is law of karma, we have to read, law of attraction, how law of impermanence, but nothing in this world is permanent. Everything it keeps on changing. There is a law of destiny, the law of interconnectedness. Everyone is interconnected to everyone else. Every atom is interconnected to every other atom. So these kind of laws give you solace and understanding how the world operates. And then comes my final part of the talk, and that is spiritual commitment. As you can see in this study, those who have higher spiritual commitment, they are more happy in terms of percentile of happiness. So those who are having some faith and they are spiritually inclined, they have higher levels of happiness. So spiritual practices are many, but most important is spiritual reading daily, then chanting, satsang, and devotional activities, then yoga, which are karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, raj yoga, ashtanga raj yoga, hatha yoga, etc. Yoga is communion, union with the higher consciousness, so-called universal consciousness, or for those who believe in God, God consciousness. Top, that is penance and meditation. And so I urge to all my friends to read some holy book or whatever faith they follow, or at least some good moral reading every day for some time, maybe 15-30 minutes, and read some philosophical aspects, do meet with people of same faith or mind, and mm, do chanting. Do prayer every day. Prayer is not asking God to favor you for some or other post of money, but prayer is for the well-being of the universe. Sarve santu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, माँ कष्ट दुख भाग भय सब लोग सुखी रहो सबका कल्याण हो किसी को कुछ अन्याय ना हो अस्वस्थ ना हो किसी को दुख ना हो or when you do deep prayer, your limbic area gets increased circulation in SPECT study, and that produces profound stillness, peace, and increased autonomic parasympathetic input, which makes you calm. And then same way yoga. But my final slides are on meditation in the last 5 minutes before I sum up. Friends, if I have to give one message today to each and every neurologist and other doctors or other colleagues who have joined here, please do me a little favor. Search your own self within yourself. छोटा सा एक काम करो अपने ही अंदर अपनी तपास करो do meditation and meditation is the way to fix this problem. The root cause of miseries are the activity of our mind. Remember I said the inner consciousness is full of bliss, but there is a layer of mind which consists of Trishna, aspiration, vichar, thoughts, vritti, emotion, perversions, our ego, our avidya, our attitude. And that layer of mind, if you want to see, expose and dissect and remove, the best medicine that I know is meditation. And there are various definitions of meditation like stability of mind or concentration. Some say it is contemplation, some say it's introspection or thoughtlessness. It's all different ways of describing different meditative processes. Is thinking deeply or spiritually about a subject. It's a very complex cognitive task. Ultimately, it can lead to enlightenment. In the terms of neurological discovery, we define in three different ways: concentration types of meditation, contemplation type of meditation, and transcendence type of meditation. Each of them have different circuitry to start with, but ultimately they all merge and the outcome remains the same. Meditation has several benefits like stress buster, positive emotional health and decision making. It boosts uh, energy, memory, concentration, your power of convincing improves, your job performance improves, it reduces negative feeling, it enhances creative skills and takes care of anxiety, depression to some extent, and so on. But its real terms, it is an antidote to stress. Stress is a sympathetic overactivity. Meditation is a parasympathetic overactivity. And it is an exercise of mind to keep it healthy and clean, as we do for our body. Our whole day activity is body-centric. What do we do for our other existence that is mind? And meditation is one way to change that mistake, correct that mistake. So it is not hallucination. Now meditation is defined as a neurobiological event. It's not hallucination. And there are various techniques. This was Qigong technique of Buddhist meditation, more prevalent in China. Now worldwide, this Tai Chi and Qigong have become famous. So Indian systems are more profound and more practiced in Oriental continents, but they are slightly difficult, some of them, particularly Anapanasati, as mentioned here, Patanjali in object or light meditation, sound meditation, thought meditation, sensual object meditation, perception of senses, that is Vipassana meditation, imagery, and Atma se Atma ka dhyan, soul meditation. There are different 8 techniques, out of which so what was that? That was Sufi meditation. If you have gone to Turkey, you might have seen that. So that is Sufi. So different Islamic currents, Hebrew currents are also there in meditation. Although our Indian Oriental system has very detailed account of different meditative techniques, I have no time to describe all those things because it's not today's subject. But I want to bring your attention to one seminal study that was done by Andrew Newberg. In 2002, it was published. And he mentioned, now this is a SPEC study, and this is a baseline before doing meditation. And this is the study after 45 minutes of intense Theravada meditation by Buddhist Lama. As you can see, the red part is the blood circulation. And after that meditation session, in the machine itself, they studied and they found there is 30% increase of blood circulation in the prefrontal area. And I don't have to tell the importance of prefrontal area to a neurologist. We are humans and we are so-called rulers of this planet because we have prefrontal lobe, which is not prevalent, so enlarged and so prominent in our immediate ancestors, that is monkeys and apes. Here, the cognition, the higher intelligence, the communication skill, prioritization, executive skill, judgment, and lots of capacities are here in the prefrontal lobe. And with chronic meditation, you have enlargement of this area, also increased blood circulation every time you do meditations, and there is increased metabolism. So the left prefrontal area particularly gets more blood proportionately. So your cognition, intelligence, and all this capacity, happiness, but your left prefrontal area is where some of the bliss components lie. And there you get increased circulation and metabolism. The thickness at the autopsy, it was found to be more in meditators in the prefrontal lobe. So it offsets Alzheimer's disease also. And so Pragya ka Vikas meditation se hota hai. This is what the connotation comes from those studies. And then there are series of papers on meditation. If you go on internet, some of them are peer-reviewed journal papers. And the second connotation that we found was the decreased circulation in the left parietal lobe, particularly PSPL area, with a deafferentation from the thalamus. And that's how the incoming sensory stimuli do not bother, and the orientation to time and space no longer dominates the consciousness. The person does not manifest, so ego, attitude, thought, emotion, etc. cut down, and that produces a man with a higher peaceful state, and he merges with the universal consciousness, so to say. And that is why a foreign author, that is Andrew Newberg, wrote the book, Why Gods Will Not Go Away. Dear friends, people from West have done seminal studies and they have come out. Davidson did research and showed increased gamma transcendental signal. Then there are many other, Lazar et al. Found, Sarah Lazar found the increased thickness and the neuroplasticity changes. Psychological studies mentioned increase in positive attitude and personality changes, increased compassion in meditators. And these are my closing remarks. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. This is done by Charles Swindoll. Wonderful lines. You must copy them or take a photograph and chipkau in your office. Attitude to me is more important than facts. And remember, attitude is completely changed with the chronic meditative efforts. It is more important than the past, than education, success, and what other people think or say or do. Attitude is more important than facts. It is more important than past education success. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, skill, awards, anything. It will make or break a company, a church, or home. A remarkable thing is we have a choice of every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past, but we cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. Certain things we cannot change. It's the acceptance. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is to play on the only thing, one string that we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced, remember this, I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me, 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitude. Friends, to change your attitude, make it positive, we have to create a space between stimulus and our action. And that space is in our hand. If we expand that space and impregnate it with positive attitude, our whole behavior will change. Our whole reaction to the incidences of life and people's behavior will change. We'll become happier always, and there'll be hardly any vengeance or any negative emotions in us. So, friends, this is how we have to move. So, I have talked to you about 5 activities of health, 5 relations, 5 hobbies, medical interventions, philosophical laws, 5 virtues, mental processes, right? That is all we have discussed, and then 5 spiritual practices we have talked. So, formula of happiness is this: stop comparing, stop expecting, stop criticizing, start sharing, start helping, start caring, no attachment, give, forgive, count blessing, take care, charge of your thoughts, enjoy every moment, learn some hobby, read great books, do sport activities, do gardening, appreciate people, thank, gratitude, learn creativity, be with nature, enjoy traveling, accept limitations, do yoga, do exercise, control attachment, control anger, ego, control, avoid greed and jealousy, and daily do prayers, swadhyay, reading, do chanting, and meditate. And if we divide our day, the 24 hours, into 3 parts, 8 hours of work, 7 hours of sleep, and 9 hours of 3 HFS. For doctors, sometimes the days are long, but then we can make up all this during the Saturday, Sunday, or for others also. Traffic and others also take up some time. But in general, whatever left time is we have during weekdays and more time during weekends, we should do 3 types of H activity: health, hygiene, hobby. Uh, Daily we have to do this. There is no option for health and hygiene. Hobby whenever we have time. 3F for one for family, friends, and faith, that we must spend time with our family daily and friends and faith whenever we have. And 3S for service to humanity and service to nation. देशभक्ति, नेशन की भक्ति के सिवा कोई अभी चारा नहीं है. इज अवर ड्यूटी. 1 hour is for our soul, आत्मा के लिए, मेडिटेशन के लिए. और बाकी हंसो, मजाक करो, खुश रहो. Friends, happiness is inside you. Happiness is not outside. Don't search it outside. Don't chase outside. I think we have made it clear again and again. We have found the root cause of misery is inside, and we have to remove those wrong thoughts, wrong emotions, wrong desires, and wrong kind of expectation from people. Love them, help them, accept your limitation, praise them, and be grateful. And happiness is not outside. Therefore, the pin code of happiness is 0000000. You have to get down at a religious station, Moratti area, taxi करके जाओ, चैरिटी चौक, पीस सोसाइटी में लैंड करो, फिलोसफी लेन में, go to spiritual mansion and sit into the meditation hall. Happiness is not outside. If you want to be happy, then just be yourself. Stay in this moment. Thank you. Thank you very much. Professor Vasudevan is all for you now. Take over, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very engaging and wonderful talk. It was extremely enlightening and motivating. Beautiful blend of science and spirituality, and especially the juxtaposition of the concepts, the biological facts, the biochemical descriptions, especially those molecules associated with various levels of happiness as you described, followed by imaging findings, and then the suggestions for how to achieve it. It was really wonderful. It was a very smooth and beautiful flow of knowledge. Really appreciate it, and we didn't realize that we have spent 1.5 hours with this. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. Now
Thank you.
I think we have one question. No, somebody has written to us. Thank you for a wonderful talk. Yes, and person has also written, may express one thought, surrender to God helps one attain tranquility. Thank you, sir, for that comment. Are there any other questions or comments from our audience would like to know? Meanwhile, I'd like to add one or two things. Like here, Professor Shah has given an ocean of information and knowledge here. One or two interesting books that I thought people might want to read. Like he has suggested that we should read more. So two books that I thought, three books. One, sir, you mentioned Andrew Newberg. His other book, How God Changes Your Brain. That is another book of his, apart from the one that you said, Why
Yes.
God Not Go Away. And that is another thing which he has described very elegantly and eloquently, all these neurological changes which occur, especially,
Correct.
people who, the Tibetan monks who do meditation and after fasting and all that, all those things have been mentioned. That is one thing. The other two books, especially about the molecules that you described at various levels of pleasure, joy, and happiness. Another very good book is by a Nobel nominee, Candace Pert, and that is called Molecules of Emotion. It's a very good book, where Molecules of Emotion. And another good book is Habits of a Happy Brain. The same things which you described, the various changes one should bring about in one's life and how to achieve happiness. So that's another book.
So there are two more books. One is Joy of Giving by Rinpoche. There is another book called Happiness by another Buddhist monk. His title is only Happiness.
Okay.
I will send across the title and cover page also. These two books also have described in a very eloquent way how, but all of them, they ultimately focus on meditation. That is very interesting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. If there are no questions, I think we can conclude the session. I think we have a very short while between now. I think we are just in time for our business meeting. I thank all the members outside the IN who have attended this at this point in time. I request our IN subsection members to close this session and join us afresh on the separate link that has been given to us for the business meeting. Thank you, one and all. Thanks to the digital team for organizing this. Thanks to the IN office bearers, secretary, president, and all the other committee members who have encouraged our subsection to do these meetings. Thank you so much.
So within exactly 5 minutes, we'll start, right?
We'll restart for the subsection members. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Vasudev. It was your idea and
Well,
insistence.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, there are some books by Dalai Lama, also The Art of Happiness and others. But I think I'll write to you. We can circulate
Yes,
it.
you can circulate it. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.